Hey everyone, welcome to Redeemer and to this Wednesday reflection where we're going to be talking about Lent, specifically Lenten disciplines. Because as you know, next week is Ash Wednesday, the beginning of Lent. And just for a brief moment, I will remind everyone how we're going to do Ash Wednesday here at Redeemer. The day is going to be done with me bopping around town. Standing on street corners in high traffic areas, dressed in my vestments, and have my little bowl of ashes and my little sign advertising what I'm doing, and providing ashes for anyone on the street that wants them, or providing blessings for anyone as they pass by, anything like that. We were also going to have an actual imposition of ashes at 6 p.m. on Wednesday evening. So if you can't make that evening service, but you're around town on Wednesday, text me or call me, email me, and to see where I'm located on that day, because I'll be trying to make myself as spread as possible. Also, I'm going to be updating social media, Facebook and the like, about, hey, I'm over here now. Hey, I've moved over here. And so if that helps you and that's convenient for you, then find me there. Okay, back to Lent. Lent, as I used to explain to my elementary school students when I was teaching, Lent is a season of preparation. And I used the example of, a child's birthday party. A birthday party for a child doesn't just happen on a given day. You've got to make a plan for what day, are you going to do it on a Saturday? Where are you going to have it? Is it going to be at home, or is it going to be at a child birthday type venue? Are you going to schedule that venue? Are you going to phone call and get someone to make a cake, or call a bakery to bake a cake? What is it going to say? Who's going to bring balloons? Are you going to make an invite list? Are you going to get invitations and mail them out? Those kinds of things have to help you prepare for the party. And so Lent is our preparation before the party begins. And since the party that we're preparing for is Easter, where we are so very close to God, and God is made known to us in the not only in the cross, but especially in the ascension. The resurrection. The ascension comes later, but the resurrection, where God is made so clearly known to us, that we must prepare ourselves by thinking and identifying and hopefully taking steps to removing those things in our life or in our mind or in our hearts that are separating us from God, or making or muting our ears, veiling our eyes to God's work around us and in us, and God's work through us. And so historically, people have taken on Lenten disciplines as a means of sharpening and honing their focus. And so typically you would give up rich items like rich, fatty baked goods and whatnot. And so this is why you would try to get all of the, the cooking fat and lard and rich ingredients out of your larder by, cooking pancakes or other butter intensive, lard intensive foods. That's why king cakes are a thing, is that you are getting all of your celebrating out, you're consuming all your calories and your fats before a scant and simple and humble Lent, and taking on those usually dietary disciplines help keep you in mind of the reason for the season, to borrow a phrase. But Lent isn't just giving up meat or having fish on Friday, or giving up soft drinks or whatever. It can be so much more than that. I find dietary disciplines helpful because they're an easy, visible thing that I can clearly do. Kind of like, if you need a project and you want to feel a sense of accomplishment, mowing the grass has immediate visual a sense of accomplishment and pride. Whereas, other fruitful objects don't always have that same sense of completion or visual gratification. But yet, Lent isn't just a time to say, "Hey, I'm going to give this thing up, and then watch myself be good at it." Because if you give up, say, a food or a beverage, then every time you find yourself having to abstain or say no, thank you, I can't have that right now. That is a reminder, kind of like a string on a finger, of this is a moment that I can pray. This is a moment where I can remind myself that I'm humble before God, remind myself that I'm dependent upon so many things, and that all of those things come from God. And also, we add things like prayer, we add things like generosity, contemplation. We take on fasting, whether that's abstaining from a particular food item or beverage item, or actual, say, fasting, because it helps us remember that we can live simple lives of prayer, study, and contemplation. And also remember, the whole point of Lent and its 40-day length is to mirror and remember Jesus's 40 days in the wilderness prior to his public ministry. And so we're sort of doing what Jesus did in a slightly different way, but with that same intentionality behind it. And so, as I was contemplating what you could consider for a Lenten discipline, I went searching on the internet, and of course, I found somebody put something forward on a website that was, I think, much better than I could have come up with, quick and fast. So I give you this graphic from a minister. Let's see, what is her name? Her name is Gina, from the United Methodists of Greater New Jersey. I don't know Gina. I literally found this on a Google search, but I like it nonetheless, and I feel that it can serve you as well. This Lent, I challenge you to delve into a spiritual practice to draw yourself closer to God. The spiritual life is, first of all, a life. It is not merely something to be known or studied, it is to be lived. Thomas Merton. And if you don't know Thomas Merton, he is a famous Trappist monk and theologian and contemplative who wrote in the 20th century. So perhaps in Lent, you could either give up or add in to your life. You can add in things as opposed to giving things up. So you could probably take on a practice of quietness. Perhaps you could take on a discipline of service with volunteerism. Perhaps you could take on a heart of generosity, sacrificial giving to the poor. Perhaps you could, again, take on a discipline of fasting, which opens spaces in our time and our attention for God. You could take on a practice of study to challenge your faith and to grow your knowledge and understanding of God or the faithful life or theological conversations that have been going on for decades, years, centuries. Also, added prayer. There are great benefits of prayer and praying. That's something that I always find fruitful and challenging, is to add more prayer time into my life. And I do pray regularly, but I find that sometimes my prayer, as it is normally, gets sort of routine, and I'm doing it because I'm doing like I would do laundry on a Sunday afternoon. I do prayer on Mondays at this time, and it just sort of becomes a routine part of my week. But by doing something special or out of my normal calendar, workflow, added prayer becomes more special because it's different and it heightens my awareness of it. So this infographic, which I will link in the description of this video, I think is a very helpful way for anyone to consider what kinds of disciplines they might want to take on, whether it's giving something up, taking something on, a combination of any of those things. You could do one of those little hexagons really intensely, or you could take on portions here and there, hither and thither and yon. And again, a note about the disciplines themselves. Lenten disciplines are not New Year's resolutions. I don't do New Year's resolutions because they don't get past January 15th. And I think a Lenten discipline is more than just saying, hey, I set myself a goal and I stuck to it. The purpose of a Lenten discipline is to help focus your mind toward God, or identifying something that distracts you from a more God-centered life, and you're removing that thing from your life and praying about it so that hopefully by the end of Lent, you are unburdened in some way and perhaps are changing your daily rule of life to reflect that enhanced sense of self and relationship with God. So, while Lenten disciplines are not, New Year's resolutions, if you give up soft drinks and then you cave and have a fountain drink on a road trip, don't worry. You haven't failed in your Lenten discipline. You've just recognized that you've set something for yourself that can be difficult, and that part of the purpose of that is to challenge yourself with difficulty and to surpass the inconvenience of a discipline. And so just say, God, give me, I pray for more strength in my resolution to this discipline, so that next time I won't, fall prey to the soda fountain machine, getting a nice fizzy Dr. Pepper, which would be my first choice. Anyway, that and others are really all I wanted to say about the Lenten discipline. I'm going to link this infographic into the description below the video. So if you want to see it for yourself or print it out for yourself, please make it available to yourself. If you have any questions or comments about our upcoming Lenten schedule, Fat Tuesday or Ash Wednesday or anything like that, please contact me as per usual. And I wish you a very merry end of our season after Pentecost as we approach Fat Tuesday, and a very prayerful and holy Lent. God bless.